Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I will be showing you how I made Reese from Animal Crossing New Leaf. So if any of you aren't familiar with Animal Crossing New Leaf, Reese owns a retail store with her husband, and they are alpacas. I definitely followed the same rules I did with Isabelle, where I kept some of her characteristics there, but I did want Reese to look like a human version. But I still tried to keep some of her main features like her pink hair and her sweet demeanor. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and get started. I followed the same process I did with Isabelle, first by sketching an idea in my bullet journal. I actually ended up changing her outfit because I drew it as a red dress in the sketch, but I later changed it to a red apron with a pink dress underneath because in the game she is wearing a red apron. So for the doll, I decided to use a Draculaura's body with a Spectra head and these Bunny Blanc's hands. I could have stayed with Bunny Blanc's body, but I decided that Reese might actually be a little bit taller than Isabelle since she is an alpaca, but at the end I think Isabelle ended up still being a little bit taller, so it didn't really matter at the end. So for this doll, I started by making her outfit, and I'm taking these Monster High boots and painting them using a black acrylic paint. I kept the boots simple because her character design is pretty much black feet and black hands, so I didn't want to change it too much. To make her outfit, I used this white lace so I could give her a sweet detail. I didn't end up using this tulle, and this pink fabric is actually an old shirt of my little sister's. For her outfit, I decided to make a pink dress with a turtleneck. So I cut out one front panel, two back panels, two sleeves, and one square piece for the turtleneck. So first I started by hemming the ends of the sleeves. Then, right sides together, I connected the front panel to the two back panels. Then I sewed the fabric for the turtleneck to the neckline of the top of the dress. Then I attached the sleeves to the top. Here I'm making sure that the top will fit right on the doll. Next I cut out a long rectangular piece of the pink fabric and add the lace to the ends. And I ruffle the top part using a common method, which is just pulling on one of the threads to make it cinch up like this, and then I attach it to the top of the dress. Then I connect the two pieces in the back and sew it up. I also added Velcro to the back of the dress and a little piece at the top of the turtleneck to make sure it stays connected. So this is the dress all finished, and I know she's not necessarily wearing a dress in her character design, but I think for the doll it works really well. For her apron, I made a simple pattern. The two top pieces and the two right pieces are going to be her straps. I actually ended up making this pattern kind of difficult for myself. If you guys wanted to make an apron, I would simply cut out two pieces of that pattern that had the number 2 on it and sew it together, leaving a little space to turn it inside out. The straps on Reese's outfit are kind of difficult for dolls because the strap crosses from one side of her body to the other side of her shoulder, and I didn't want the bulk of Velcro or the difficulty to add a button, so I decided just to use Fabri-Tac and glue it down. But this did mean that I had to add the apron to her outfit before I reattached the head. And for the colors on her apron, I just painted it as you saw with pink acrylic paint and blue acrylic paint. I also made her a simple headband using a pipe cleaner and felt because I didn't want the ears to be attached to her head. Again, I wanted her to seem like a human that kind of looked like an animal. For her hair, I decided to use this yarn that I had stored away. It is from a company called Yarn Bee, and this one is called Just Lovely. And it's basically acrylic yarn that's already brushed out for you, so there's barely any hassle of brushing it out. I think I could have used maybe a darker pink, but this is the one I had and I didn't want to spend money on just getting a darker shade of pink. So this is kind of the technique I use when I'm making hair for the dolls using yarn. It's kind of hard to explain, so I'm showing you here, but basically what I do is just hot glue a straight line of hair to the doll's scalp, and then I pull it straight out so I can reuse the other side of the yarn. And I do the face up after this process because in order to get the yarn hair to stick to the scalp, I push it with my fingernail to make sure it sticks, and I don't want it to ruin the face up by squishing it. So here is the yarn hair after a few layers. It's a lighter pink than I would have wished, but I think it's still looking good. So after I finish the back side of her hair, I attach hair to the front using the same technique but just the opposite direction in order to create her bangs. And I finished styling her hair after the face up because I didn't want it to get ruined in the process. So like most of my custom doll face-ups, I start by blushing her cheeks, forehead, and nose using a soft pink pastel, and I add a little bit to her lips, but normally for my dolls I use a pink acrylic pencil to really define the color and shape. And if you have stuck with me this far, I am offering my subscribers or anyone watching $10 off an order of 50 or more in my Etsy shop, because I recently hit 100 subscribers, so I really want to say thank you to you guys for watching and being here with me during these doll customs. I also gave her a light brown nose like I did with Isabelle, and I think it looks really cute. And here my camera decided to cut off when I was repainting, so here I basically just added the waterline and the top eyeliner with 2 eyelashes like her character design. This is pretty much the same process I use for all of my custom dolls. I use a light brown colored pencil to draw the eyeliner on top, and if I decide to make it darker I can just go over it, but it won't show as much mistakes since I'm using the light colored brown pencil. And then I use a pink to draw the waterline underneath, and here I use the same pink to draw the little cheeks on her face. For Reese's eyebrows, I decided to give her a similar shape to Isabelle's, which is no arch to the eyebrow. It's a pretty good shape for them because it gives them kind of a neutral expression or a sweet expression, since the arch usually tends to give a more mature look. And here I'm adding a few bottom lashes to Reese. I kept them pretty small and I only added 3 because I didn't want it to seem like she was wearing a lot of makeup, because I imagined that Reese would normally wear soft and simple makeup. So here I'm going to show you a more detailed process of how I do my eyes for dolls. This is kind of the look I was going for Reese, so I put this picture of a recent doll I made up in the corner. And what I do is normally start by figuring out where the circle highlight is going to be. I usually draw them on the top right corner of the eye. Next, in the center of the eye, I draw a pupil shape, and I make this darker, which is basically the very center of your eye, which is normally pretty dark. And then I split the eye in half. This kind of looks like a Pokeball, if anyone is a Pokemon fan. And what I do next is the part that I already have drawn with the light brown, I go over with a dark brown. And then the top side of the circle, I do the same dark brown. And the bottom half of the circle is the initial light brown. You can do multiple colors if you wanted to. You could do, instead of the light color at the bottom, you could do like 3 different colors. This is just the technique that I normally use for my dolls. And I decided to keep Reese's eyes brown because her character design has solid black eyes, so I wanted to keep them pretty close to her original design. And this is how I styled Reese's hair. I kept it pretty simple and close to the design. I just used some hot glue to kind of stick it together. And these are the final photos. As you can see, it's pretty close to the design that I had in my bullet journal. I just, again, had messed up in it, but the apron, I think, came out really cute. It looks pretty similar to the one that she has on her amiibo figure, her cards, or, you know, obviously the one she's wearing in the game. Although I do really love her face up, I think I like her outfit better because of how I interpreted her alpaca skin in the game. I pictured that all the fluff that she had around her neck was a turtleneck if she were a real person, and I think she would be wearing a dress because that's how she would go to work. Again, I'm not selling this doll, but if you guys have any questions for me about the products I use or the techniques I use, feel free to ask me in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Again, if you want to see more pictures of Reese or Isabelle, feel free to follow me on Instagram, and don't forget to go use that coupon in my Etsy store. Bye!